Welcome into Locked On NBA Insider Report on NBA Free Agency Day. I'm Kainani Stevens. Jeff Garcia joining us from Locked On Spurs. One of the first moves of the day. We find out Dejounte Murray is on the move. He's headed to Atlanta. A lot of picks coming back to you guys. Obviously, there were some rumors that he was going to be probably heading out of town. So were you pleased with what they got back and have to look forward to, I guess?
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to with the Spurs and the obvious direction they're going. This is a complete 1 billion% rebuild. You traded away your best asset, your only all-star, to the Hawks, and you get yourself a war chest of first-round picks. Practically, most of them are unprotected. And of course, the Spurs get their own because, let's face it, the Spurs are probably not going to be title contending in the next couple of seasons, maybe 3. So yeah, they're definitely prepping for the future. I was a little surprised though that they did trade away a homegrown player, but nevertheless, I think it had to be done. This team was flirting with becoming that middling team. They were close to it. For how many years did they try to change the tires going 100 miles an hour, bringing in LMA and DeMar DeRozan, make it work. And it just wasn't making work. Consecutive seasons of not making the playoffs. This is third time in a row they made the play-in. So it's just not enough. This is a complete tank. This was a move that I think that Spurs will look back one day and say, you know what, I'm glad they did it. Hey, it's happened before in their history, trading George Hill on draft night, moving up to get Kawhi Leonard, and it netted them one title at least before he left. This could be something very similar. You trade away your best asset, get yourself a haul, rebuild from the ground up. I'm talking removing the studs off the foundation and the floorboard, everything. And that's what they're doing right now. So yeah, a good haul. I think that's the best they're probably going to get. And we'll take it from there. But it looks like they're not done rebuilding, though. Yeah,
as we were just talking a few minutes ago, Lonnie Walker's got his walking papers as well. So This isn't just a rebuild. This is like full on pretty much tank mode at this point, right?
Yeah. And look, this is a Spurs team that historically, and I remember back in the day when Hemisphere Arena only had one floor and people were allowed to smoke. Since those days till now, only one major free agent's ever come to San Antonio. His name was LaMarcus Aldridge. That's it. Not even when the big 3 were there did major free agents say, you know what, I want to go play with the Spurs and Tim Duncan and Tony and Manu. Not even Kawhi was enough. So how did they get to that dynasty era? Through the draft. How did they get David Robinson? Number 1 pick overall. So how did they, get Kawhi Leonard? Getting aggressive on draft night, trading up. So what's the common thread here? Spurs get things done via the draft. So what better way to get ready for that in the upcoming drafts and to have a war chest of picks? They did that. And telling Lonnie Walker, thanks, but no thanks. What's more of a signal? The Spurs practically put neon signs around the word tank, underlined it, highlighted it, went up to the Empire State Building and shouted it out loud. We're tanking now. So it's interesting to see this because, it wasn't just a few short years ago. I remember the Spurs having river parades, celebrating titles, and now here we are. But it had to be done.
And obviously there were some question marks, when they were kind of on that bubble with the play-in tournament, all that, what they were going to try to do. And obviously they have drafted really well. So they've made that decision that they're going to try to do that and build the team up again. Coach Popovich has been a big part of that for a long, long time. But as he gets older, how much longer are we going to see him stick around to, pretty much start from zero again?
Yeah. It's interesting to see what's going to happen because that is the next big piece in this rebuild to happen is who's going to replace him. Could the news that happened earlier today that Brett Brown, former Sixers coach, former Spurs assistant coach, is back on the sidelines with Popovich, could he be just kind of shaking off the rust after his absence from the NBA to take over the reins after this season? All signs are pointing to Popovich will be back. I was at Barclays on draft night and got to witness all 3 of the Spurs' newest players answer phone calls from Popovich. So telling him, hey, we're looking forward to playing with you next season. We're going to have a good time, all that good stuff. So he'll likely be back for one more, but it's after this season. I don't have any inside information. It's not like RC Buford's calling me up right now and telling me what's going on behind the scenes, but I would not be surprised if this was it for him.
And I don't think anybody knows, because he really strikes me as one of those people that's just going to wake up one day and be like, that's it. Like, today's the day, and not tell anybody and just show up and be like, I'm good. So obviously a lot of question marks there. Hopefully he does stay involved in some regard, because they've done so well with him. So a lot more questions as to what they're going to be able to get, and if they will get that number 1 pick next year. Jeff, we appreciate you. Make sure you tune into Locked On Spurs wherever you get your podcast, because there's a lot more to the story coming down the line. Of course, check out YouTube as well. I'm Kanani Stevens. This has been Locked On NBA.